G'day punters, welcome to our mailbag preview. We're going to look at Moonee Valley on Friday night, touch on 2 races in depth. I'll give another tip out there as well. We're going to briefly look at Mornington, the C-grade meeting that Racing Victoria's put on to complement the Golden Slipper meeting at Rosehill, where we're going to look at the 2 big races there, the Slipper and the Galaxy. Scooty, I won't shake your hand because I don't want to catch the corona. And Peter.
What's having a pistol?
The Crystal Pistol, the Sneaky Pete, he's been out and about in town. I want you to speak through that all show. Obviously, in these scary times for us as a nation and as a populace of the world, some people are taking the corona more seriously than others. And Pistol has been out and about on the piss all night. He smells like a brewery.
And he's on delay, so
he's literally on. It is Perth time, isn't it? 4 hours behind the rest of us. He has showered. It doesn't look like he showered, but he has showered. He promises us he's had a shower. We've just got him onto a goat because we're sponsored by Mountain Goat Lager, who I think it's the greatest drop there ever was, and it is brewed via sucking it through a hose out of the Yarra, and the beautiful sediment and 100 years of fill that's been put into that Yarra just around Richmond will provide your body with a good amount of natural bacteria to hopefully combat, no doubt, what you've ingested. Ingested's a good word, isn't it? Over the last 24 hours, you sick little puppy. Don't expect much out of him today, guys. I certainly don't, and neither should you. Moonee Valley Race 2, I'm going to quickly touch on. I think Overkill, who beat B Hunter last start, is currently a $6 chance here in Race 2, drawn barrier 1. A little bit scary, but Ben Gladrat Mellon rides. It beat B Hunter. B Hunter was off the map yesterday at Sandown. Wasn't overly suited with the way the race, like the day ran, and it circled from last and killed him. I think the Overkill form line's strong. I think $6 is more than fair to play. I reckon it starts 440, 450. Ocular's a really exciting horse, but Dean Holland rides from barrier 8. I expect you're going to need a bit of luck there, and you might not get all of it. But we're going to look right now at the Manicato. Up comes the speed map, and then you get the Synth Hold. Bivouac's favourite from Love and Gabby, then Exceedance, the 3-year-olds up the top of the market. Pistol, where do you think Bivouac's going to get there from barrier 1?
It's a bit of almost like a flashback to deja vu in a way, if you like. Bivouac. Just be cast, buried on the fence.
1 pair back, 2 pair back, 3 pair back, what?
I certainly think it would be 1 to 2 pairs back. I suspect 1 pair back.
I suspect they dig up and try and find the coffin, but I'm not convinced they even get that. I think at the current price, you need to be against it. It's going to need a lot of luck, especially if Moonee Valley's played sort of how it's been playing and it favours on-pace horses. This is race 7. There's going to be good speed here. There's a lot of horses that don't have a lot of speed, but he's one of them. So if they all try and roll forward and he's half a step slow, he's all of a sudden a $4 chance in run, which is more likely, I think, than he gets a coffin. And even if he gets the coffin, he's going to have to barge his way out. Well, he's probably going to be following Pippi, who was enormous in the Oakley Plate, surrounded by maybe Scales of Justice, who's a big boy. You're not going to be pushing him out of the way. I don't like the map at all. I think Scales of Justice for Dean Holland, Dean Yendall, and Lindsay, Pete's mate Smith, West is best. I think this horse freshened, looks bomb-proof here from barrier 3. Goes the 1-1, goes OSL, I don't think it matters. I think it and Pippi control the race, and both seem big odds to me. Exceedance will need the track to really suit on swooping. Loving Gabby's going to get a good run, I think, from 5, but how positive does he want to be, Willow? You don't know. And I thought Embrace Me was one that was big odds here.
I was just going to ask about Gab. I mean, last time we saw...
I prefer she was drawn barrier 12 and barrier 5.
Yeah.
And she just sits 3 wide and motors.
I mean, look, it was drawn in the Manicato last year in gate 2, and obviously settled more forward on that occasion. I sort of suspect they might try the same thing here, put the horse into the race.
Yeah, I agree, but I just think Loving Gabby and Bivouac have maps and gates that are more likely than not to lose momentum at some point, and they both may well be good enough to overcome it. But it's likely they're going to lose momentum at some point in this race. Scooty, anything?
I thought Pippi would be well suited at Moonee Valley, just the style of the track, but Linda off concerns me. I think Loving Gabby grows a leg at Moonee Valley. She's so balanced. She goes into sort of beast mode there. There was nothing wrong with her her run last start. I think there was plenty of merit in that. I'm very frightened about traffic for Scales of Justice, Bivouac, G-Tra, all like buried along the fence. I think maybe G-Tra or Bivouac, sometimes third defence or fourth defence is better than directly behind the leader. It's just pure lotto at Moonee Valley in those scenarios. I can see a horse like Exceedance improving out of sight off that tough run. So the horse, I'd be looking for a closer, or if Ben Mellon doesn't panic, I'd say the best chances would be Pippi, Loving Gabby, and Exceedance from a value perspective. I don't think there's much value horses drawn inside.
What do you guys make of Mystic Journey?
No.
Has to be a risk.
Wrong setup here.
Yeah.
1,200 metres in this scenario. It doesn't look like.
It's odd. It's an odd placement. But obviously the horse has good ability. Race 8, the Sunline Stakes, over the mile. Fillies, Group 2, I think, weight for age. There's the market and the speed map. Princess Jenny's favourite and has been backed and was backed by me at a slightly bigger price. I think Spanish Reef, who I'm not on and I have been on, will probably rear its head here and be right in the stuff and leave me in the fetal position late on a Friday night, and I'll be fuming. Absolutely fuming. Well, Erythea actually also in the snufto when it was crowed by Ross Salt Brody, who was cheering the other thing home to get his fucking Cornella home because he thought we were already home on Erythea, and we weren't, Ross, you idiot. And this thing, Natoya came out of top of us and won, and we lost hundreds. Anyway, where was I? Bears on Fire going well. I think Princess Jenny's... get out the stats. I know off the top of my head, but I might be a little bit wrong. I think it's 4 from 4 second up. I think it's 3 from 3 second up, 2 from 2 track and trip. It drops back to Mare's Gate. It gets Damien Oliver on. It's drawn barrier 5. It just looks the ideal setup. I think it'll start sort of 250 and I think it'll win. I think it is a very, very good bet. Moonlight Maid, Mick D, Mitch Friedman, we talked about it on the Pathway show. I suspect to be in real cold, and I just want to see it get through the line nice and beautiful as it goes on to win the Australasian Oaks at Morphettville in a month or two's time. Boys?
Nothing to add from me. Yeah,
it just looks a carbon copy set up for when she won the Group 2 stock stakes last prep. Horse absolutely flying. Don't worry about the high SP.
Dominant SPs though over Spanish Reef.
Yeah.
The key players here. It's got dominant SP profile against the key runners here.
I think the only fly in the ointment was it'd be probably Aristia. She might have just blew out onto that tough All-Star Mile run, and I think she can be a big improver there.
We head to Rosehill, boys, punters, ladies and gentlemen. The long ends, Golden Slipper, 1,200 metres, 2-year-olds. Is it still the richest race for 2-year-olds on turf or something?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. 3.5 million.
There's the market. Here comes your speed map. Farnham just favourite ahead of Tagaloa for the tripod. Mickey Walker, who we had on Little Birdie Pod just before. Make sure you head to littlebirdie.pod.com. You can catch all the podcasts there. We've got Mickey Walker, Dan O'Sullivan, In the Know with Snow. Great horse racing content on there for you. Heaps of speed here, boys.
Decent. I think Farnham and obviously Mildred will come across from their wide gates.
This is when we hope and expect Pete to start to speak a little bit on the previous show and add a little bit of value, something. He is the Sydney judge amongst the three of us.
Hashtag good content. I think there will be genuine speed. The horse, I think, obviously suited from the draw. Dame Giselle, we've obviously been on it for quite a while and I see no reason to drop off. But the more I dive into this race, the more I think it suits Hanseatic to an absolute T.
Ooh.
And I don't, it's not really one of mine. I haven't been with any of its previous starts. But I think the way that it sets up, the splits it's capable of running, it's got a nice draw from 9, should just be able to put itself into a midfield position. I think it ticks a lot of boxes here. So I'm more than happy to be playing Hanseatic and I'm already invested on Dame Giselle.
I thought, I think Tagaloa is the most likely winner. But I don't want to get involved with that sort of price.
Yeah, I agree. And look, comparing their starting prices, Hanseatic's clearly got a dominant SP over Tagaloa.
But Tagaloa's got the recent run, which I much prefer to the 4 weeks between runs.
I'm not too phased. It's had a trial. It's fine from that point of view. Just looks like it's been kept fresh. I'm not totally convinced about some of the other races leading up into this event.
I'll agree. Dame Giselle looks just perfectly placed. Menage, a bit untapped. Seems short though.
Yeah, exactly.
Hungry Heart, I thought, has some scope, but you look at its numbers on the way we look at races, boys, and it's a mile off them. It needs to find a stack. Personal was big in the Blue Diamond.
I'm still recovering.
If you like Hanseatic and you like Tagaloa, I think you got to have a case there for Personal.
Completely drawn cast. Can't see it being anywhere other than the last couple in the run.
Yeah, she's got a monster accelerator, I think. Personal. I found it last start at 30s, and I've literally only recovered mentally from the defeat. If you watch the tape, she had absolutely no luck. If you think that the favourite can win Tagaloa, you have to consider this horse. She's about what, $20 or $17.
$17, $18.
Yeah,
You'll get a much bigger price Personal later on the fair, which is where you should be playing. I think there'll be a lot of in-play flux here too. So if you want to back a horse like Personal, I'll be having half my stake on before they jump, and I'll be nibbling the rest at much bigger prices in the first 300 metres, and then canceling all bets. But see what you can get, because you'll be able to get a bit of fat up the top there.
Craig's a really deep thinker, and I sort of...
It resonates deeply. It resonates with you, doesn't it?
He'll just look at this setup and think... He probably loves drawing that wide. And
Can you imagine the
little
little lead pencil just flying from the valley to like Bankstown? I think they'll probably be lobbing in Sydney.
Yeah.
And all the boys will be on there, like fucking half will be on Tinder with setting their location back to Sydney again, where they can start. Craig will be on there just doing form in the zone, working. The rest of them will be taking absolute.
Mickey Walker will have Dr. Dre and a bit of Oh My Cheerleader on, and
watching some YouTube golf lessons.
Yeah, apparently he's got some new sticks there. But I think Tagaloa was absolutely enormous last start. I think it deserves to go off favourite. I think there'll be a stack of money for it. Everything it's done in the last couple of starts has just been sort of wow factor, and I'm just going to stick with the obvious being Tagaloa, and I just can't see Farnham beating that horse. But Gay produced Contepartio, or Contepartio, how do you say it?
Contepartio.
Yeah, and I was stupid enough to bet around it, and Pistol Pete found it last week. So again, she always leaves something in the tank, so very sneaky, but my eyes tell me that Tagaloa will beat that horse home, and I just think it's the standout in personnel off the Blue Diamond replay. Watch it again and tell me that you think it's
if you watch the Blue Diamond, who should have won the Blue Diamond?
Personal.
I think Muntasira should have won the Blue Diamond. I think I'm getting $71 Muntasira here. If it didn't go, if you forgot it went around at Flemington, it'd be short. It'd be $15. It's got an SP over Minaj, who was declared by everyone. Every single person who could have ever seen this horse go around declared it, and Muntasira still has an SP over it. I assumed it was gone. If it's running, it's right. I think it is huge odds each way. Just, you don't have to have much on it all to be winning a stack. That's my tip in this race, is the small 1x3 win and place Muntasira. Anything else? No. Good. Pete, you sure? Nothing else to add there, mate? Yep. Good. The Galaxy, race 8, Rosehill. There's the market. Pierretta's favourite from Cosmic Force and Savatiano, who went off an absolute cliff last start and just got done late. Speed mapping, the Galaxy, boys. Pistol, what do you like in the Galaxy, mate?
I really found it quite difficult to find an edge over the market at the moment. I'm really interested by In Her Time. The horse, you've got to remember, it's getting the synthetic hoof filler off here. It did go to Hong Kong, but it was scratched before it actually got a chance to run there. So for me, that's a really intriguing runner. It seems to map quite well for this event. It's got good figures. Don't mind it first up. That's probably the way I'd be leaning if there's a bit of value. Cosmic Force and Pierrata are probably the other two that I had most interest in, but it does look a pretty skinny market at the moment to try and jump right into with any strong confidence.
I'm really pissed off that Rob's not allowed on course to give us Manio Mail here, because there's a horse here. It's outside the market. Tefane, number 12. I thought it was huge in the Lightning, is it? Or the Newmarket?
Yeah.
Like the proper race, the bivouac race.
Yeah.
I thought it was huge. I think it sets up to go really well here. I'll probably end up backing it anyway. I like, again, a little bit like the slipper, just have a small bet, 1x3. You can sort of make a case for stacks for me, and it's a fascinating race. Kementari, as I said, Savatiano rode and tipped it on a little birdie pod, and it went off a cliff.
That was a good run.
So it's SP's dominant. Hareeba, if you forgive its last run, looks well placed. It's just a stack of Jungle Edge, In Her Time, and God of Thunder look the 3 that will be most suited if the track stays in a soft to heavy range.
And that's probably one of the key things, isn't it? How's the track going to play?
Anything for you, Scooty?
Well, it's funny, if you look at the profile, thanks to Punting Form and the feature race reports, it actually favours horses that settle more forward. So that adds another layer of complexion from my perspective. I really liked your angle with Tafani. I thought that was a sensational run, and I think there's some value in that price. I thought Deprive didn't really have much chance, and not many horses did behind Nature Strip last time. I thought that was another really big improver stepping out in distance. It's pretty effective between 1100 and 1400, so I'm a bit more of a setup punter. I think the track will be in perfect condition for it, and 53.5 kilos for a horse of that sort of ilk. I think that's the perfect sort of weight profile as well for a runner. So I think that's the horse that just looks to be grand final day for that runner. So.
Any other bets for you guys outside of those at Rosehill?
No, not at this stage. For me, the main concern is the fact that we've seen a few races or a few meetings in Sydney of late where there's been bugger all rain leading up into them, and then the track's been downgraded from, say, like a soft 5 to a heavy 10 almost instantaneously. It's really tricky to be jumping in early without knowing how the track's playing.
Well, it's rugby league. It's rugby league country.
Rugby league.
Rugby league. Rugby league.
The horse that I backed last start from the Little Birdie pod was Shadow Hero, and I think it's looking for 2,000 metres. I think it taps out at 2,000 metres.
Yeah, I think
Hero. This is right on its limit, but the way it sort of, to my eye, surged through the line, it looked like a horse that was sort of looking for 2,000. And I'm not sure that they can make up any extra ground. Like, I love Castelvecchio as a horse, but they're going to have to try something completely different with that horse and go a lot more forward for that horse to turn the tables. But I thought Shadow Hero could be the M word, it could be the morale.
I think it's interesting what they do with Warning. Gets Ollie back on drawn 1. He's either going to ride it real cold, or like he did in the Derby, might put the horse right on the race.
I think you've got to be really careful with the last start. That race that a lot of these horses are coming through was a heavy rails bias on the day. Horses like Castelvecchio were just completely not suited whatsoever. Wouldn't surprise if the horse improved very, very sharply. Okay,
let's head to Mornington, where, like we will have at Rosehill, we will have, what are we calling the product?
Late mail.
Late mail. So, can you guys explain what it is in your words, and then because it's important they know what we're doing.
Well, yeah, I guess, we're really struggling with access to the track from Racing Victoria. Big shout out to Andrew Jenkins and Jake Norton. These guys are under extreme duress to stick within, I guess, the government's guidelines. I think all the administrators are doing a great job. We're in communication with them, trying to get an exemption to get Jack or Pete onto the course. As you can imagine, everywhere is in lockdown and there's a lot of panic. We'll keep working on getting that happening. So in the interim, the guys are doing their best to look at the shots from racing.com. It's still the same sort of filters and form factors across all the tracks that we use. And then you've got, I guess, the betting analysis on top of that, and you'll still get the staking. So
you
exactly
definitely get the units. The units is like what you're definitely going to get, and a little bit less of like how the horses look to my eye, but how the race sort of shapes to my eye.
Yeah, but if the horse is sweating up and it goes to pieces, we're still going to be likely to find that and factor that into the decision making.
Yeah, and it's only a very small sample size, but we've done it for 3 days now, and we're well in front.
Victoria's fine.
We're going good.
Yeah.
I think once we're allowed back on track, there's a big chance that it'll just be Sneaky Pete on there with his headphones by himself, and I'll be back in the cave, because it's being able to utilise the TV and more information. If racing.com, I know there's lots of people inside there, mostly on our talent, pushing for what we're pushing for, which is for them to actually show the fucking horse parade instead of like an interview with a trainer or a race that's on Sydney. Because if I want to watch a replay of a race in Sydney, I'll go back to Channel 7 or put it on 528. So please God, the producers at racing.com show the horses parading. It is no good to anyone if the jockey's on top of it or it's galloping. So get them in early, get them done, record it, overlay it until they're all paraded, so we can get that's what the punter at home wants.
You can't get there.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it's picture-in-picture, that'll be better than nothing.
So anyway, we're going to look at Mornington. What do we want to talk about? The Mornington Cup maybe, and then the Hareeba or
The Hareeba. Yeah, it's always a tricky little hot sprint, but yeah, we can start at the Cup.
So the Mornington Cup, punters, there's the speed map coming up now, along with a little bit of a synth hold. The market looks like that. So, what are you guys thinking here?
So Harlem brings, I guess, the strongest form credentials.
Big price, isn't it?
Yeah.
It looked like I was going to win the Australian Cup about this 400.
There's a couple of just interesting runners. Obviously, Yogi got scratched from the Adelaide Cup, so that was a bit of controversy.
Controversy.
As you'd say.
Controversy.
I thought, yeah, a horse like...
The snowman's declaring Just Benjamin.
Yeah, a horse like Actau or Just Benjamin, from a setup perspective, they interest me. The vomiting horse, Suzuka Devious, turns up.
Well, how are we going to know if it's thrown up or not?
We can't get on course to set. We might have to get...
We'll have to get like Jimmy T or someone just to go at the back and just ask them.
Drone.
Oh, that is controversy.
That is, maybe get a permit. We'll figure it out anyway. It's a really odd race for mine. I think
thought
you've got to respect even a horse like Suzuka Devious. He still did enough to sort of improve into a race like this, but he's a 9-year-old horse, so that's a little bit of a dampener. I think
there's a bet here. There's a clear bet here. This horse ran last week, and I wrote down back the next start wherever it goes. It backs up within the week, which is good for a stayer. It's drawn barrier 3. It's going to surely get a little bit of a positive ride from Bo Mertens. I think number 12, Stars of Karam, is the right price to find out if it's sort of going to deliver on its sort of potential it showed earlier in its career. I think it's a great bet each way. That's the way I'll be playing the race. Number 12, Stars of Karam. Pistol, you got anything else to
add? Keen to do a little bit more of a deeper dive, but always keen on horses on the quick backup going into a staying event. So there's 4 of those in the event. Interlock obviously puts itself right into the race.
And likely to be suited with Mornington the way it races. They come up a gentle, so for those of you who've never been there, it's a really short straight, and the last sort of 300 metres is around the corner and up the straight, and it's up a hill. So it's harder for them to run on. Yep. It's obviously not up a hill, but it's an incline or whatever it is. Is that the right word?
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, if I like Interlock, I probably have to also include Backlash Bay.
Yeah, I think probably... If I had to lean somewhere, I would probably say Actau.
It wouldn't be surprised if Vaucluse Bay just improved dramatically with a typical Waller, like just having a barrier trial last week, which is what it looked like the way it was ridden, and probably backs up and runs really, really well. The Hareeba Stakes is race 8, the last race we're going to look at today. It's over 1,200 metres. Diamond Effort's your favourite. There's the market. The up will come your speed map. Prophet's Thumb, interesting runner. Haunted, got good ability, gets the Chop King Ethan Brown on. Chop King Jr. Fattener, $11. Backs up off a pretty easy win there at Moonee Valley last week. Bunch of chances. Rocks the Castle's $27 here. Manolo Blahnik's here, George. This is a pretty good race, boys.
Very deep.
Peter?
Bit too hard for me.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate your effort there. Scooty, have you got anything to add to the scenes? Aren't we glad we got Peter on today, guys?
This is... I was ridden like upside down last start, and I still think it's like really big odds here, but a horse like Bonds Away, not sure what their tactics are, so be interested to see if they mention it or if they do or they don't. But
it'd be more interesting to see if they get in trouble for doing or doning.
Right.
Given that most people don't, but some do.
This horse was a runner-up in this race last year, and I think he's the class galloper that I want to be on. If you forgive one run, his form when unsuited over the 1,000 metres behind Jungle Edge. And then if you keep going back further, he's running around against horses like Nature Strip and Trekking, and then he hasn't really had much go right these 2 starts in. And then all of a sudden, here he is in a weaker field. He's got Jai McNeil sticking on him, and he's got a nice draw. So he can just sort of slot midfield, and if he's got a massive turn of foot.
I don't love the 28 days, and I want to see how the track plays, but I agree wholeheartedly that it is clearly the most responsible way to wager in this race.
Been recording some huge figures along the way.
That's
Last 5 starts, all double figures.
It's clearly the most responsible way to wager in this race. I think this race comes down to getting a speed map spot on and having a really good read on how the track plays, which is one of the biggest edges about being at home and not being on track, is how easy it is to watch the replays quickly and comfortably. You don't have to run around, try and find a replay screen, and wait till it finally starts again. You can rewind it, fast forward it. It's making a huge difference to myself. And so we'll identify where we want to be and run and back those sort of runners.
It's probably an interesting time for the stay-at-home punter. They're going to have to try and prop the game up for the next 6 to 12 months. So I think people need to get their thinking caps on and figure out how they can promote the game to the people that are going to bet via laptop. So
yeah, and especially like this is the area to focus on is Victoria, because you get better odds on the fair, and especially compared to rugby league territory. Like if you go back and check your profit loss statement on the fair, you're getting slung like almost 10% commission up in New South Wales. That's a fucking lot of money. Compared to what you cop in Victoria, you need to be like sort of 5% more profitable in New South Wales to make it even worthwhile, thanks to Mr. Rugby League.
Everything he's saying is true. As an ex-Betfair staffer, Victoria have been the most supportive, and I think they'll be the ones that shine through this sort of crisis. They're more progressively thinking and geared for the punter. So I'd put a lot of emphasis on.
I think credit to the Mornington Race Club and Racing Victoria too, because this card's a lot deeper than you'd think for like Mornington. It's a good race card. I'm looking forward to betting at it. So that's us. What's our best value and lay actually?
I think my best is probably Shadow Hero.
My best is Princess Janae on Friday night, race 8, number whatever. It will be winning.
I'm disturbingly thinking that my best is Hanseatic.
That's very sick. I think my best value bet would be probably Bonds Away in the Hareeba or Personal in the...
My best value bet is Scales of Justice in the Manicato.
Do you think it'll settle on the fence or off the fence?
I think it'll settle. I would sell a one-off. He's a very astute little rider when he wants to be.
One-off would be great.
A big horse. He put it wherever he wants to.
Yeah.
I'm going to lay the Bombers.
Lay the Bombers.
In the AFL.
It's Candine's
against
best.
Freo. Fuck it. They've had heart. They've got all these injuries. I'm going to lay the Bombers. Bombers lay.
I'm happy to lay Bivouac. The SP'd $6 last start. It's gonna be, and it had a beautiful ride and got every possible. It goes from
must be more now.
Boss to Bowman. I'd rather Boss than Bowman. Drawn one's the negative. I'm happy to be against it at $2.70. I reckon you're going to see sort of 310, 320, 350 maybe. All right, guys, that's us. If you want to get involved, head to the mailbag.com.au and we will look after you with late mail, accountable betting advice.